Hello everyone. Today I want to share my experience about friendship at university. Before I started university, I often heard advice that you should be careful about who you trust. People usually say that most students only make friends with you for practical reasons, not because they want to be your true friend. I have to agree that during my first year, this was true. Friends only talk to each other if they had classes together. Otherwise, we were just acquaintances. I felt quite lonely, so I wasn't trying hard to make close friends. However, things changed when I was a sophomore. We had a required course called National Defense Education, and we had to live together in shared room for 1 month. At first, I feel very uncomfortable. I like my privacy, so having to share everything like eating, sleeping, and daily activities with new people was a difficult time for me. But this lack of privacy actually turned out to be good because we were forced to spend time together. We started truly knew each other. We saw our good sides and bad sides, and we shared personal stories that we wouldn't have shared in a normal class setting. When the course ended, we became good friends. We began meeting up to study in the library and started getting better at our schoolwork together. To be honest, I was quite a lazy student, and I often put off my studying until the last minute because they were serious about studying. My new friends always encouraged me and gave me many useful study materials. I am very thankful to them. With their help, my grades quickly improved. More importantly, the time I spent in study became much happier. I was no long I was no longer alone. I had a reliable group of friends, and my sense of well-being improved a lot. Finding true friends at university is not easy, but when you do, this friendship becomes the most important support you can have. It's had helped me get better grades and made my entire university life much richer. I believe that storytelling is one of the most powerful ways for people to connect. It is not just about reading books. It is about how we share our lives, our dreams, and our lessons with others. In the past, before we had the internet or television, storytelling was the main way to keep history and culture alive. I remember when I was a child, my grandmother used to tell me tale, folk tale, every night before I went to sleep. Those stories were simple, but they taught me a lot about kindness, bravery, and what is right or wrong. Back then, storytelling was a warm, family activity like brought people closer together. However, the way we tell stories has changed a lot because of technology. Today, stories are everywhere. We see them in movies, video games, and even in short clips in TikTok or Instagram. We don't just listen to stories anymore. We watch them with amazing sounds and imagery. This makes storytelling very exciting and fast. Everyone with a smartphone can now become a storyteller by sharing their daily life or their travel experience with thousands of people online. But for me, the most important thing hasn't changed. A good story must have emotion. Whether it is a big Hollywood movie or a simple story from a friend, it should make us feel something, maybe happy, sad, or inspired. In our busy world, storytelling helps us stop for a moment and understand the lives of others. It helps us realize that we are not alone in our struggle. And I think that storytelling is a gift that everyone has. We don't need to be famous writer to tell a story. We just need to be honest and share what is in our heart. After all, our lives are made of stories, and sharing them is the best way to make and sharing them is the best way to make the world a smaller and friendlier place. Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about the mobile phone, a piece of technology that has changed a lot over time and has had a clear impact on my life. This is something I use every day, and the way it has developed is truly interesting. When it first appeared, the mobile phone had only one function, making calls and sending messages to people who were far away. It was quite simple and only helped people stay connected more easily. Later on, when smartphones were introduced, everything started to change. Phones had a few basic games, allowing users to entertain themselves a little during their free time. The big change happened when mobile phones could connect to the internet. From that moment, phones become completely different. People could watch videos, update the news, play online games, and even make video calls with others, even from a long distance. In the past, seeing someone's face through a screen was something nobody thought about. But now it has become a very familiar. In addition, many smart applications were created, such as Google, which helps users search for any information they need, from study materials to exam papers or lessons. The phone, from a communication tool, has become a very convenient device for both learning and entertainment. At the present, the mobile phone is almost dispensable in daily life, from studying and entertainment to keeping up with the news. Everything is contained in a small device that everyone can carry with them. When I look back at this whole development process, I can clearly feel that technology always changes according to people's needs, and people also change their habits thanks to the development of technology. Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about a creative activity that I often do when I have free time, which is making a scrapbook, a way of keeping memories with photos, colored paper, and small cute items. I'm not very skillful with my hands, but I really enjoy the process of creating a scrapbook that has my own personal touch. When I first started, I made scrapbooks simply because I want to try it for fun. I saw some video online showing very cute scrapbooks, so I bought a few sheets of paper and some stickers to follow along. At first, everything was a bit messy, and I feel like nothing looked right, but the feeling of decorating a page with my own hands was quite enjoyable. Gradually, I realized that scrapbooking is not just about sticking pictures nicely. It's a way to record moments that I want to remember for a long time. For example, when I go out with friends, I keep a list I find on the way, take a few photos, and paste them into the scrapbook. Then I write a few small lines about that day. These little things, when I look back at them, make me feel like I'm reliving that memory all over again. What I like most is that scrapbooking allows me to be creative in a very relaxed way. And what I like most is that scrapbooking allows me to be creative in a very relaxed way. There are no rules at all. I can choose any color, any font style, or any sticker I want. Sometimes I spend an hour just arranging a page, and during that time, I feel like my mind is completely relaxed without thinking about schoolwork or deadlines. For me, scrapbooking is a very approachable, creative activity. It um it doesn't require high skills, just patience and a bit of feeling. Thanks to it, I've learned to appreciate the small things in life. And I also understand that creativity doesn't have to be something grand. It's simply a way for each person. It's simply a way for each person to create something that makes them feel happy and meaningful. Well, if I were to describe a significant development that has truly transformed my hometown, I would choose talk about the infrastructure upgrade, specifically the construction of new, robust roads and bridges. This change is something I have witnessed firsthand, and it had had a profound impact on the lives of everyone in the community. What I mean is complete construction of a new road and bridge system in my village. I noticed this change starting about 7 years ago. Before this project took place, traveling in my hometown was truly a real nightmare. The roads were mostly dirt roads. I remember very clearly that every time it rained, the roads would turn into a muddy mess, full of water, making it very difficult and dangerous for vehicles to get around. More importantly, to cross the rivers, our residents had to use ferry or use flimsy, temporary wooden bridge built by the people themselves. This project changed everything. First, the dirt roads were widened and smoothly paved with asphalt. The roads are no longer bumpy or flooded anymore. Now we can drive across the river safely and quickly, without having to worry about waiting for the ferry or using those rickety old bridges. This change brought many benefits. Firstly, economical. Farmers can now transport their produce to district market twice as fast and easy. This helps them sell their goods better and lets you better living conditions. The second, practically, traveling to schools or hospital is no longer a big problem. Emergency trips can now happen very quickly, which has literally saved lives. I feel very happy and grateful for this development. The convenience and safety that these new roads and bridges bring are priceless. They have turned a hard-to-reach area into a more livable and modern place. This development has truly helped My hometown. This development has truly helped my hometown move forward in a sustainable way. Today, I want to talk about alternative travel, a new way of exploring the world that has changed a lot over time and has had a clear impact on how I plan my trips. This is a trend that many young people are choosing today. and the way it had developed is truly interesting. When it first appeared, travel was quite simple and mostly focused on popular tourist destinations or luxury resorts. The main goal was just to relax or see famous sights. However, as people started to care more about the environment and local cultures, alternative travel began to grow. At first, it was just small groups of people choosing go to trekking in remote areas or staying in local homestay instead of big hotels. The big exchange happened when people realized the negative impact of mass tourism, such as pollution or loss of local tradition. From that moment, travel became completely different. Instead of just visiting crowded places, travelers started to seek sustainable travel or eco-tourism. They choose to travel by train. They choose to travel by train instead of planes to reduce carbon emission, or participate in volunteer trips to help the community. In the past, spending a holiday working on a farm or teaching children in a poor village was something nobody thought about. But now it has become very familiar. In addition, many smart platforms were created, such as Airbnb or specialized travel blogs, which help users find unique experience from staying in a tree house to joining a local cooking class. Travel from a simple vacation has become a way to learn, grow, and protect the planet. Today, I'll talk about custom and behavior in our life. I think the way people have behave today is very different compared to the past. In the past, people followed strict rules. For example, when children talk to elders, they always had to be very quiet and polite. And family meals, there were many traditional rules about how to use chopstick or how to sit properly. People cared a lot about tradition, and everyone tried to behave the same way to show respect to the community. But today, life is more modern and open. People don't follow old rules as strictly as before. For instance, young people now feel more comfortable sharing their own idea with their parents or teachers. We still respect elders, but we communicate in a more friendly and direct way. In the past, being different was sometimes seen as impolite, but now being yourself is more accepted. Another big change is how we behave online. Say or small, everyone use Facebook or Zalo. We have new ways to be polite. We learn how to send nice message or use emoji to show our feelings. This is a new kind of behavior that our grandparents didn't have in the past. In my opinion, even though some customs are changing, the most important thing is still kindness. Whether we follow old or new rules, being helpful and polite to others is always the best way to behave. Um, I believe that everyone has their own dream and goals. And for me, being a student at a pedagogy university is is the first step to reaching me. My biggest ambition is to become a dedicated teacher in the future. When I was a little child, my hopes were really quite simple. I just wanted to get good marks and make my parents proud. I never thought about a professional career. I never thought about a professional career. However, my perspective changed when I was in high school. I had I had a chance to meet some inspiring teachers who were not only good at teaching but also very kind. They lis- they listened, to my problem and encourage me when I feel stressed. Since then, I have dreamed of standing on a stage and sharing knowledge the younger generation. With the younger generation. At the moment, I am putting a lot of effort into my studies. Being a teacher nowadays is quite challenging because students are very smart and they have access to a lot of information on the internet. Therefore, I have to learn many things besides textbook. I spend my time practicing how to give a good presentation, how to use technology in the classroom, and especially how to be patient with different types of students. I believe that a teacher is not just a person who gives lessons, but also a friend who guides students through life. Looking ahead, I have a hope that after I graduate, I can work in a school where I can apply modern teaching methods. I don't want my classes to be boring with only book and pens. Instead, I want to create an exciting environment where students feel free to ask questions and develop their own talents. I also plan to learn more about psychology to understand my students' feeling better. In conclusion, having an ambition make me feel motivated and gives me a clear purpose in life. I know that the path to becoming a good teacher is long and hard, but I'm ready to face all challenges. For me, the greatest success is not about money, but about seeing my students grow up and become good people in society. Hello everyone. Today I want to share with you my opinion about the news. I think that the news play a very important role in our modern life because it connects us to the rest of the world. Every day, we are surrounded by a huge amount of information, and the way we receive it has transformed completely. Many years ago, the news was something very formal and slow. People often had to wait for the evening news program on TV or buy a newspaper at a shop. At that time, news was a community activity. For example, a whole family would sit together to watch the weather forecast or world events. Information was limited, but it was usually very accurate and well checked before being published. But now everything has moved to the digital world. We don't have to wait for anyone because the news is everywhere, especially on social media like Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube. What I find surprising is that today normal people can also become news reporters. If something happens on the street, if something happens on the street, someone can film it and share it online instantly. This makes the news very diverse and fast, covering many topics like entertainment, fashion, and even the daily life of celebrity. However, there is a dark side to this development because there is too much information. It is easy to get confused or spread. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed by negative news or clickbait titles that are only there to attract attention. In the past, we worried about not having enough information, but today we have to learn how to filter what is useful and what is trust. In my opinion, although the way we read news is much more convenient now, we should be responsible readers. I always try to limit my time on social media and choose only a few high quality websites to follow. Staying informed is good, but keeping a balance and protecting our mental health from information overload is even more important in this busy world. I have always been fascinated by talented people. To me, a talented person is not just someone who is born with a special gift, but someone who knows how to use their skills to inspire others. In our society, when we think of talent, we have an image, famous artists, great musicians. We see them performing on stage, and we think that they are lucky. However, after reading many stories about successful people, I realized that talent is not only a small part of their success. The most important factor is actually their hard work and discipline. Without practicing for thousands of hours, even the most talented person cannot reach their full potential. Another thing we Another thing I've noticed is that nowadays talent is more diverse. In the past, people only valued traditional talents like being good at math or literature. But today, you can be talented in many different ways. For example, some people are gifted at coding, some are master of cooking, and others have a talent for connecting people or solving social problems. I think it's wonderful that our modern world recognize and appreciate so many different types of abilities. I think it's wonderful that our modern world recognize and appreciate so many different types of abilities. I also believe that every one of us has a hidden talent. The problem is that many people never find it because they are afraid to try new things. For me, discovering what you are good at is a long journey. It's required to step our it's sorry. It require it requires to step out of our comfort zone and be brave and not to fail. Once we find our passion, we should focus on developing it every single day. In conclusion, talented people make our world more colorful and beautiful. Why I really admire those with natural gifts. I have even more respect for those who work hard to improve their skill. I hope that in the future, I can also find and develop my own talents to contribute something positive in society. Hello everyone. Today I want to share my opinion about knowledge and learning. I think knowledge is the most valuable asset a person can have. However, the way we learn and gather information has changed significantly in recent years, mm, making the journey of learning more exciting than ever before. For a long time, people believed that learning only happened in classroom with teacher and textbook. Once someone graduated from school or university, they often thought their learning time was over. Knowledge was something you received from expert, and its worth often limited to what was written in book. This made learning feel like a heavy duty rather than an enjoyable experience. But today, our view of learning has expanded. We now live in an area of lifelong learning. This means that we can learn anytime, anywhere, and from anyone. With the internet, knowledge is at with the internet, knowledge is at our fingertips. If I want to learn a new language, how to play the guitar, or even know how to cook a foreign dish, I can easily find a tutorial on YouTube or join a online course. Learning is no longer restricted by age or location. Moreover, I believe that real knowledge does not only come from theory, but also from experience. We learn a lot from our mistakes, from traveling to new place, and from talking to people with different perspectives. This toy or practical knowledge is just an is just as important as what we learn at school because it helps us solve real world problems and become more mature. Summary, I think that the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. This gives us curious and motivated to keep growing. In this fast-moving world, the ability to learn new things is the key to success. As the saying goes, learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. Mm, it is undeniable that money is a very important part of our life. It provides us with the things we need to survive, but the way we think about money can determine how happy we are. First of all, money gives us security and freedom. When we have enough money, we can afford a comfortable house, good food, and quality health care. More importantly, money allows us to take care of our family and help those in need. In the past, people often thought that having a lot of money was the only way to be successful. They work, they work very hard, sometimes forgetting about their health and relationship just to accumulate wealth. However, I believe that our perspective on money is changing. Today, many people realize that money is just a tool, not an ultimate goal. Ha- Having a huge bank account doesn't mean anything if we don't have time to enjoy life or people to share it with. I haven't seen many people who choose a simple life with less money but more peace of mind. They prefer spending money on experience, such as traveling or learning a new skill, rather than just buying expensive objects like luxury clothes. Another important point is how we manage our money. Nowadays, with many banking apps and online shopping, it is very easy to spend money quickly. Therefore, learning how to save and invest it is a vital skill for anyone and for everyone. I think it is wise to be careful with our spending and always have some saving for the future. And I truly believe that money is like fire. It can be good servant, but bad master. If we know how to use it properly, it can make our life much better. But we should never let money control our emotions or our values. After all, the greatest wealth is not what we have in our pockets, but what we have in our heart and mind.